Welcome back to another episode of the DFS Express, presented by Loudmouth MMA and MMAtoday.com. I am your host, the DFS Sniper, here to talk UFC Fight Night 120, Anthony Pettis versus Dustin Poirier. Before we get started, please give me a follow on Twitter at the DFS Sniper. You can also subscribe to my YouTube page, just search the DFS Sniper, and also make sure you're checking out the daily fantasy hub we have over on MMAtoday.com. Just go to MMA-today.com/DFS hub. A lot of great content over there to get you going on DraftKings. If you've never watched or listened to an episode of the DFS Express, first of all, welcome. We're going to go through every fight on the card, giving you a DraftKings specific play that's sometimes different than my fight pick, who the better play is on DraftKings, and we're going to build a sample lineup. This week it is a GPP lineup that is for your large multiplayer tournaments. Let's just jump right into it because we're going to try and do all of that in 10 minutes total, 9 minutes left. Main event, Anthony Pettis versus Dustin Poirier. I like Dustin Poirier a lot. He's 8,000, small underdog, plus 105. I think he's clearly the more active fighter. Pettis is on the decline. Poirier loses to guys like Conor McGregor and Michael Johnson, who just hit harder than Anthony Pettis. Not on the same level. He gets knocked out by heavy hitters. I don't think Pettis gets knocked out. I think Poirier can outwork him. I think Poirier does hit very hard and could knock out Pettis. He also can get takedowns if he wants. I think Poirier is the all-around better play. This fight is stackable in cash games on DraftKings, but the straight pick here is Dustin Poirier at 8,000. Co-main event, Matt Brown, 9,400. Diego Sanchez, 6,800. Two guys who probably need to retire soon, both major chin issues. Diego Sanchez especially got just torched by Al Iaquinta his last time out. Matt Brown, is he retiring? Is he not? Either way, I think he gets the finish of Diego Sanchez, who's fighting a weight class up, mostly because he doesn't want to cut weight anymore. I think this should be the swan song for both of them. It's probably not. I like Brown to get a finish. I'm not going near Diego Sanchez. It could be hard to fit Brown into your lineups, but there are plenty of live dogs. He's the pick at 9,400. Junior Albini, 8,900. Andrei Arlovsky, 7,300. Arlovsky is just about done as well. Speaking of guys who should retire, Albini is the real deal. I had him against Tim Johnson. He got a knockout. Albini hits hard. I think he's going to put away Arlovsky early. Arlovsky survived an early onslaught against Tybura, who then gassed, and it became an interesting fight. But Arlovsky had to weather the storm. I don't think he's able to do that against Albini. Albini is a badly needed up-and-comer in the heavyweight division. I'll take him at 8,900. Cesar Mutanche Ferreira, 9,100 against Nate Marquardt, 7,100. Both guys are really chinny, and for that reason, I'm going to lead towards the price savings. Marquardt is 7,100. Ferreira was just in that boring decision against Theodorou. He had been knocked out a few times. He won a few fights leading up to the Elias Theodorou fight. Before that, though, he'd been knocked out a bunch and fighting more cautiously. He might get away from that here, and Marquardt hits hard. He also has an underrated ground game. The line is just off in this fight. Marquardt is a big underdog, and I don't think he should be. So for the price savings, I'll take Marquardt at 7,100. Rafael Assunção, 9,300. Matthew Lopez, 6,900. Assunção, highly skilled, but a guy who will drive you crazy. He fights down to the level of his opponents. He is a split decision king. I can't go near him at a bet. 9,300. It's not that I love Matthew Lopez. He has some wrestling. I think it's too big of a jump too soon. It's just I'm so against playing Assunção this week that the better pick for DraftKings, if you want to go that route, is Lopez at 6,900. Joe Lozon, Clay Guida, 8,100 apiece. Really close, fun fight. Both guys towards the end of their career. Joe Lozon is going to come out and try and blitz you. Clay Guida will out-cardio you. It comes down to, does Lozon get a quick knockout? I think he does. He also, even if he can't get a quick finish against Guida will try and push him up against the cage or get a takedown in the late rounds. Lozon has a very good ground game and could find a sub there. Guida's been choked out in the past. So multiple paths to victory make me lean towards Joe Lozon at 8,100. John Dodson, 8,300. Marlon Moraes, 7,900. I'm going to go with Dodson here. That he's a flyweight who couldn't, an elite flyweight who just couldn't beat Mighty Mouse. He goes to 35. He has a speed advantage over everyone, and people forget he hits pretty hard for a guy in the lighter weight class. Moraes coming off of an inactive loss to Rafael Assunção. last time out, coming from World Series of Fighting with a ton of hype. I'm just not a believer in Moraes, and I don't think he gets it done here against Dodson. I don't think he's going to be able to catch him, and he might even do something silly, and you leave yourself open to Dodson, he can knock you out. So I think Dodson is the better play at 8,300. Tatiana Suarez, 9,200. Viviane Pereira, 7,000. Pereira is the better play here for me, 7,000. Another situation where the line is way off. She's a plus 250 underdog as of now. Suarez is one-dimensional wrestler, won her season at tough, but to do it, she beat Amanda Bobby Cooper. Hasn't faced any competition. Pereira is tough. She's more well-rounded, and if she can just take away the ground game of Suarez, she should cruise to a decision here. 7,000 isn't that big of a price tag to pay off, although I am a bit concerned with the volume. Suarez isn't totally out of play because if she wins, it's going to be a grappling-based decision, which we know can pay off well in DraftKings. But personally, I think the odds are off here, and I'll take Pereira at 7,000. Sage Northcutt, 8,500. Michelle Quinones, 7,700. I am back and forth in this fight. Northcutt, we know, is not very high level. People seem to keep forgetting how young the dude is as he's making this run up and down. Win over Marin, who almost got subbed by, lost to Mickey Gall, people don't believe in. Michelle Quinones, though, last time out got just blasted by Jared Gordon. I'm going to lean towards the price savings at 7,700 right here. This is a fight I'll probably keep on waffling on right up until fight time. I like the savings on Quinones and Northcutt. Going off the Team Alpha Male, I need to see it before I really invest any money into it. So for that reason, I'll take the savings on Quinones at 7,700. Angela Hill, 9,000. Nina Ansaroff, 7,200. I'm probably going to fade this fight. I think Hill wins it. It's going to be a stand-up fight. I don't think there's a lot of action. I think it's a typical women's MMA fight. I'm usually not one to say things like that, but I don't think this is going to be an exciting fight. I'll take Hill because I think she wins, but I'm worried about the scoring overall in this fight. But give me Angela Hill at 9,000. Sean Strickland, 8,700. Court McGee, 7,500. Again, I'm going to lean towards Strickland at 8,700, but he's not active enough for me. He's a little like a Sun Tzu in that I want him to do more. Court McGee is all pressure all the time, but he has slowed down. He's definitely on the decline, been around for a long time. I'll take Sean Strickland at 8,700, but won't be surprised if McGee is able to wrestle him out. Marcel Fortuna, 8,600 against Jake Collier, 7,600. Another fight where I think the dog is live in Jake Collier, but Fortuna's probably better and also waits for the counter. Collier is a lot of pressure. 205ers, you probably want to have some exposure to this fight because it's going to end in a finish. I'll lean towards Fortuna. He's probably the little more polished striker, and Collier has not shown an ability to really stop the takedown. And Fortuna could go that route. We haven't seen it in the UFC yet, but I think he can do it. And for 8,600, he's my preferred play. Roberson, 8,800. Darren Stewart, 7,400. I like Roberson here. Glory kickboxer, lots of power. Had that knockout of Spawn on the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series. It just generates a lot of power in a short space. It's going to be somebody who can get takedowns, who will give him problems. I don't think Darren Stewart can do that. I think it becomes a striking match, and Roberson, I believe, is much better than Stewart, so I like him at 8,800. So now jumping over to DraftKings, about a minute left, so we're going to build a quick tournament lineup again. This is, I'm looking for knockout upside. That's what you need to focus on in tournaments, who can get you finishes. Right away, starting at the top here, I like Dustin Poirier a lot. I'm going to lock him in at 8,000. We're going to see if we can fit Matt Brown at 9,400 because of that chin of Diego Sanchez. And again, Albini at 8,900 because Arlovsky's chin is shot. So we've actually taken 3 fights really late in the card, which, I mean, it worked last week at 217. Usually, though, tournaments, you have some success paying down. I'm down to needing 7,900 a fighter, so clearly need some savings here. You know what, we're going to go back up. We're going to go back to the main card again. Nate Marquardt, 7,100, because Figueroa is chinny. I think he's live, and if he wins, it could be a knockout. Now, Joe Lozon also been played 8,100. He's going to blitz Guida in the first round, try and get a finish that way. Going to come and sort by salary for our last position, 8,500. Sage Northcutt, you could go. I'm going to go with John Dodson again. He does hit hard for someone in the bantamweight division. And again, I think he's just too fast for Moraes and going to cause an issue. So here is a tournament lineup we have just built. Dustin Poirier, Matt Brown, Junior Albini, Nate Marquardt, Joe Lozon, John Dodson. That's it for this week in the Scramble, guys. Please like this episode wherever you are watching or listening. Give me a follow on Twitter. Enjoy the fights. I will talk to you next week.